Thank you for your testimony. I will ask you some questions for 5 minutes, and we'll try to get in as much as we can before we hear that votes will be relatively soon. I see two factors involved in this whole situation. One is national security. The other one is economic security. The pre-clearance facility placed in an area where, first of all, I ask you why there instead of somewhere else, but also when this decision was made, was there any input and discussion about the economic security of American airlines? American airlines have to compete with foreign airlines that are subsidized by foreign governments. They undercut U.S. carriers. U.S. carriers make their money on foreign travel. They don't make money on domestic travel. And it appears on the surface that this will make it more difficult for American airline companies to compete with foreign subsidized companies who will fly directly to the United States. So economic security, national security, airline industry, as you know, is very concerned about a pre-clearance facility where they can't even fly into, and why this location instead of somewhere else. And the second question is, the economic issue, was that factored in this decision or not? Go ahead.
Thank you. First, on the security benefits and why Abu Dhabi. Understand that, as the ranking member noted as well, that currently it's modest travel volume, but this is a very strategic location for us from a terrorist travel standpoint. As I mentioned, the countries that fly into Abu Dhabi, it's a central travel hub for a number of places with active international terrorist organizations. Yemen and the activity of al-Qaeda in the Rayburn Peninsula is of significant concern, as we've seen with the Abdul Muttalib attack on Christmas Day in 2009, the air cargo package plot, underwear attack 2, and their continued intent and interest in attacking commercial aviation, as stated through their publications and elsewhere. We need to do our best to secure all of the travel routes from that region. So if you look at the strategy, we're trying to get to all of those locations that are important terrorist travel hubs with significant security programs. We have our targeting capabilities, which are global, that give us a lot of pre-departure information and put us in a good position to address risk and threats. But having an actual physical presence at the foreign airport, talking to passengers prior to departure with our immigration advisory program, and better yet with pre-clearance, which is essentially the functional equivalent of a U.S. port of entry, and in Abu Dhabi's context, it would give us our full authorities and protections to operate there, is even better than that. So we are working to project enhanced security programs to all of these strategic transit points for terrorist travel. We have IAP in 5 out of the top 10 locations. We have pre-clearance in 1. And this is another step in that broader strategy. It's not the only thing we're trying to accomplish or the only location. It's part of the overall strategy that does include Dubai, as you both noted. In terms of the economic impact, absolutely, we have had in-depth discussions, robust exchanges of views with the air carriers and their representatives, the pilots and their representatives, and we appreciate their perspective and rely on their partnership in many ways. That said, the economic picture here is really a broader discussion. We need to facilitate travel to the United States. Each traveler coming overseas traveler spends over $4,000. Every 33 travelers creates a U.S. job. We are struggling to keep up with the pace of international aviation growth, 12% over the last 3 years, 4% expected over the next 5. Our staffing has been flat during that time. So we need to come up with all potential ways to alleviate that congestion in our international gateway airports. We're transforming our arrivals process. We've submitted a strategy to Congress that includes staffing increases in the administration's 2014 budget. And we're working on partnerships like this in Abu Dhabi to try to address this from all angles.
Excuse me, let me cut to the chase, or have you cut to the chase. Doesn't this put an economic disadvantage to American airlines, companies, that we have a facility where y'all are working, where American airlines cannot fly in and out? We are helping a subsidized airline to fly their people to the United States. Doesn't this put an economic disadvantage to American airline companies who are already struggling? I mean, that's just the question.
I can definitively assert, Mr. Chairman, that if American Airlines were prevented from flying in and out of Abu Dhabi, we would not establish a preclearance location there. We have negotiated guarantees in the preclearance agreement that there will be access, equal access, non-discriminatory for American carriers. They will be non-discriminatory in terms of the charging of fees for gate access, et cetera. Absolutely, there's not going to be a U.S. operation where U.S. air carriers are prohibited from flying.
Well, my time has expired, but do we have that in writing from them?
Yes.
That they will allow American airline companies to fly in and out of that location?
It's in the preclearance agreement, and the Abu Dhabi Airport Company has invited United and Delta. They met in May, toured the preclearance facility. They would like them to establish service and are continuing to talk with them. That tells us that they're sincere in their agreement.
We'll hear from the ranking member, Mr. Sherman from California. 5 minutes.